Before Avatar Fire and Ash came out, the director James Cameron said that if this doesn't do well, he will stop making movies. This bold statement is not nearly as bold as you might think, because this movie was guaranteed to do well, as there is going to be 4 different Avengers Doomsday trailers playing before the movie over the course of 4 weeks. We know what you're doing. Don't think you're slick. Avatar Fire and Ash. Where do I even start? I guess I should say I'll be spoiling this, so if you haven't seen the movie, click off now. Finally, I'm reviewing something that's good. There have been other decent movies, but I was way too busy watching more important things, like the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Okay, first off, the movie's alright, and an okay end to the trilogy, though I'd say it's definitely the weakest one in the trilogy. That doesn't make the movie bad. We've seen it time and time again that endings are hard to do. It's clearly difficult to put an ending on 3 movies worth of stuff, and unfortunately that's one of the movie's negatives. There is just too much going on in this movie, and because of this, the movie struggles to maintain its pacing. And you definitely feel this when characters you haven't seen in a bit just pop back in and you go, oh, you do exist. I felt this the most with Jake's son Loak, who doesn't really do much in the first part of the movie. Then in the middle chunk, all he does is swim out to sea, find his whale brother, and swim back. And for most of the final fight, he's kicked to the side to stay on guard duty. Also, going back to the middle chunk, that whole fight with the squid things was so unnecessary. And also, for some reason, emulated that fight scene from Way of Water. I don't know why it did this, or what it showed outside of the squid thing's existence, so that I guess they didn't just pop out of nowhere for the final? I don't know. I don't think people would have been mad that we didn't get a slight amount of context for the squid things. But hey, how about that 3-hour watch time? I guess it was also meant to show that Loak still can't hold his breath? Loak's whole character arc and the guilt of his brother's death kinda takes a back seat for most of the movie. Again, there are just too many characters that are more important to the plot. Also, Loak's the new narrator. I guess it's to make up for his lack of presence in this. Also, I find it so funny that the first and second movie had Jake narrating, and now the third is Loak? We just skipped the older brother, huh? Oh well. Anyway, if you're wondering who was taking up all of Loak's screen time, and why, it's because Spider has a literal symbiote in him, and he can now breathe the Na'vi air. What the fuck? I like Spider in this. I think Jake and especially Neytiri learning to accept Spider as their own was really sweet. Again, it kinda just shoved Loak to the side, but it's fine, he's fine, and not suicidal at all. I kinda thought they'd play into Neytiri hating Spider more, especially since I thought the fam would find out that Spider saved Quaritch at the end of the last movie, but they don't. No one does. Actually, nothing comes from this pink skin saving Jake's arch enemy. Quaritch mentions it in the middle of the movie, basically thanking him for keeping him around for this movie, but that's all that comes from this. It's just an excuse to get Quaritch into the movie. And Quaritch, wow, way to fail the redemption arc. He has completely went the opposite way of Jake and falls in love with the craziest blue chick he could find. And this is ultimately his undoing, as this time he is very dead. Unless he isn't. I love that he doesn't get redeemed. Like, he does genuinely care about Spider, but he's still a horrible person that doesn't care about anything Spider cares about. Not the Na'vi people or the planet. He does, however, find something new he cares about, that being Varong and the Ash. And honestly, I wish they played into the Ash more, and we got to see more of their biome. That's always where these movies have been at their best, showing us this beautiful world and how the different tribes adapt. As for the Ash, they're pretty good. They're simplistic with the whole God hath forsaken me, so I forsake her back. But it does work and it fits the world and the landscape which they live in so well. Again, I just wish we saw more of them and not just more water people. If there's one thing I hated most about the movie, it's the fact that the final battle is just the same from the last movie, only bigger. Come to think of it, there were a lot of elements from this that felt very similar to the last movie. And that's not a major negative. I liked Way of Water a lot. I just hope this would be a bit different considering the title has the opposite element to water. Kiri is also a pretty big character in this. She's the one who gives Spider the symbiote and can also control the fauna around her. However, she is getting blocked by God for reasons that the movie refused to say. And Kiri can only get through to her by using the literal power of friendship. Also, there is a god. Next we have... Probably should have mentioned that. She looks like the face of the little ghost. There's also an afterlife. An afterlife with no ash people in it. Wonder why. But guess who is there? The woman from the first movie! And it turns out that Kiri is a perfect clone of this woman's avatar. Yeah, these movies still have those moments that make you go, no, 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 no. Why does this avatar die and a seed pops out of it? Doesn't matter. Why is God ignoring Kiri? It doesn't matter. How can people just keep popping up from out of nowhere? How close is anything from each other?
It doesn't matter what you think!
Something else I thought was really underused was the leader of the Ash, Varong. She's pretty cool early on, but considering she was like the main focus of this movie's marketing, I just thought she would do more. Don't get me wrong, she still does things. But as soon as Quaritch joins the Ash, the focus shifts to him. Varong kind of takes a backseat, while Quaritch does all the commanding. She does a bit when she first comes to the human city, where she tells the Ash to stand tall and show no fear, so that they would look more presentable. But nothing comes of this. That whole human city thing was so weird, because it felt like we were setting up to do with something with Spider's symbiote and the humans. But when Jake is saved, the movie then drops everything to do with Spider. He's not important anymore because we gotta talk to those damn whales. Yeah, we really need more sea life in this movie called Fire and Ash. And then the final battle, as I said before, is just the Way of Water battle, but bigger with more boats, more whales, and more blue people. I don't know. To go back to Varong, I just wish we did less of the last movie and more of the Ash. There's a couple other characters that are worth mentioning, like this lady. I don't know her name. She doesn't do much outside of stand around and look mad, but she is there. They brought back this guy. Yeah, this time he's got a robo-arm. He dies again, and he's not coming back for Avatar 4. Unless they Darth Maul his ass, and he's just too mad at those whales to die. James Cameron, I have ideas, call me. That marine biologist guy from the last movie is here. He redeems himself by freeing Jake from jail, and then pieces out. I could go on naming obscure character after obscure character, but I want this video to end. Overall, if you like the first two movies, then you'll probably like this, and I would definitely recommend you check this out if you haven't already. This movie has a lot going for it. It looks incredible. Most of the fights are great. There are good characters in here, and I'd say there are some good emotional moments. And being the final movie of the trilogy, there is a lot of spectacle. But if you don't like the first two movies, then you're not going to have a good time with this. This movie is a lot more of the same things from Way of Water. For me personally, I'm not going to fault the movie too much for the problems that the franchise has always had. But I would rank it under the first two for the fact that the movie did have problems balancing out the amount of plot lines and characters that the movie had to keep track of. The movie tries to continue off of Way of Water, but it takes steps back from that movie. Jake goes from accepting Loak and not blaming him for his son's death in Way of Water to straight up shunning him in Fire and Ash. The movie also tries to introduce Varong in the Ash, and while I say it succeeded at that, it still felt underused. The whole plot with Spider and his symbiote is completely dropped in favor of doing the last movie's final battle. There is just too much the movie tries to explore, but also so little that it consistently focuses on. So for that, I give Avatar Fire and Ash a 7 out of 10. Despite the movie being crowded and the wacky ass plot, I still enjoyed the movie and had fun seeing more of the world again. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you stuck around this long, then you probably have an opinion on this movie, and I would love to hear it down in the comments below. And if you want to see more reviews like this, then why not like and subscribe? It's free and it really helps me out. Again, thanks for watching.